SaberRD's Experiment Analyzer provides an intuitive user interface for building complex experiments to explore the robustness of a design. By starting with a design's requirements, a list of performance criteria can be created. The Experiment Analyzer is then used to define the steps to test if the design meets these performance criteria. When an experiment is executed, all these analyses, calculations, and measurements are automatically performed and a report is generated showing which performance criteria were met. The value of doing this is that the design can now be changed and automatically retested to verify that it still meets requirements. This is useful not only at the beginning of your design cycle when exploring device sizing and optimizing component values to meet requirements, but also for exploring how the design will behave as variations are introduced by the manufacturing process or aging. Similarly, the experiment could be used to see if the design continues to meet requirements as components fail or are removed. If the design does not meet requirements in these conditions, the design can be modified to mitigate the effects of these failures. Let's take a closer look at the Experiment Analyzer in SaberRD. Once a design has been created with SaberRD, the Experiment Analyzer is accessed by moving the mouse over the Experiments tab on the right-hand side of the screen. This tab will display a list of all of the experiments that have been created for the current design. A couple experiments have already been created for this design. Double-clicking on an experiment will open it for editing. You will notice that when the active window is an experiment, a context-sensitive tab will be available in SaberRD's ribbon to assist with the editing of the experiment. To execute an experiment, navigate to the Simulate tab on the SaberRD ribbon. In the Analysis pull-down menu, select Experiment. Another pull-down menu will be displayed with an alphabetical list of all experiments associated with the design. Select the desired experiment from the list or begin typing its name to narrow down the list. To begin executing the experiment, press the green Execute button. As the experiment executes, the progress bar will be updated based on the number of top-level tasks that have been completed. Hovering over the progress bar will provide information on the command that is currently being executed. Once the experiment has completed, a log of the results and any generated graphs will be displayed in the Results tool on the left-hand side of SaberRD. To view the log of the results, double-click on the experiment report in the Results window. This will display a hierarchical list of the tasks that were executed in the experiment and their status. By default, any failed tasks are logged as well as the status of each pass-fail task in the experiment. In the experiment definition, measurements can also be designated to be saved in the log file. Double-clicking on the name of the graph in the experiment results will open it for display. Now that you know a little bit about SaberRD's Experiment Analyzer, look for additional videos that provide detailed instructions for creating new experiments, managing experiments associated with a design, performing fault analysis with the Experiment Analyzer, using variables within the Experiment Analyzer, and using the Experiment Analyzer to build up pass-fail reports.